Hey everybody, in today's video we're going to look over Workhorse. I also have a video to feature at the end here, and we're also going to look at some upcoming catalysts that will definitely affect most all small caps as well as the general market. So let's start off this video. Consider hitting the like if you like these videos, and let's take a look at Workhorse. Now we're looking at nearly a nice 10% update here today, which got us back over $1. Now I want to consistently see this continue over $1, even if it's just trading sideways, because we know that if this trades under $1 long enough, this is going to bring more fear, more pain, more uncertainty. We are now trading over the 50 moving average. They are trending down, however, they are still bearish with the 200 above the 50. I want to see this continue at least trading sideways, for these to kind of meet up better, for this 200 to kind of meet closer to the 50 so that they can break out and see a golden cross. And we haven't seen a golden cross on this company since somewhere in 2021. And this is why I love these golden crosses on the 50 and 200 moving average so much. If you're playing this on purely that, set a stop loss and let it run all the way to the death cross, you could have traded this from around $4 all the way to around 15. And you could have made more than that if you would have got out earlier. But if you're not trading stocks long term, I definitely think trading the golden cross and the death cross is a good strategy, while setting a stop loss if this, like I said, isn't a long-term stock, or any stock in general. This typically works out pretty well. And that is one thing I'm watching for here. If we can continue up, trade sideways, get these moving averages closer, we do have a potential of a golden cross, especially with earnings coming up if something really positive comes out of earnings. And you'll see that it's actually found resistance on the 200. The 50 was not able to break above the 200. So I think a break of the 50 to the 200 or a golden cross could bring a lot of buying pressure to Workhorse. And as for the EMAs, these are all still bearish as well, pointing downwards, falling. We are under the majority of them. We are now above the 50. And I'm really keeping an eye on this because it is quite sideways. It's been trading sideways since about May, going up a little bit higher, going down, but staying kind of range bound for the most part. These can turn out to be what is called an accumulation phase, where it trades sideways, the institutions get a buy-in, and then push it up out of this sideways channel and make some profits. And just like many small caps, we do have earnings coming up in the beginning of August. They're expecting a record-breaking quarter where revenue is concerned. They're expecting 16 million in revenue. However, I'm not holding my breath because last quarter they were expecting 10 million and they only reported under 2 million. And same with the previous quarter. They seem to have these kind of high revenue expectations that end up missing. But we do of course have recent news of dealerships taking them on. Dealership in California, another dealership in Georgia that is offering these Workhorse vehicles. Now I also expect some big news with the drones in this earnings report as well. And specifically in the earnings call, typically in the Q&A, there's a lot of very important details of information that don't really get reported in the press releases, such as where they're really at for certain vehicles, what pieces are needed to complete these vehicles, small little details that typically get missed. Now I did want to go over some economic things to watch out for both Workhorse and the overall market. PPI is going to be coming out in 2 days as of this upload. It's coming out on July 13, and you'll see that it's just been continuing down very consistently. PPI has been just dropping like a rock. And one thing you'll notice is it's forecasted to be 0.4%. The previous PPI that came out was right around 1.1%, and we could potentially be seeing this very soon under 0%, being negative actually. And before that releases, we also have CPI coming out, and this is going to be tomorrow, July the 12th. And CPI for the most part has been trending down. It'll have some sideways months where it doesn't really go down much, but generally speaking, CPI has been just trending down as well. And it is now expected to be at 3% range, 3.1%. Our last CPI print was 4%, and now we are definitely working our way towards the Fed's 2% target. And of course, the CPI and PPI will be looked at very importantly because of upcoming Fed meeting. And if these come in as expected or even come in lower than expected, that will likely breathe a sigh of relief for the market. And one thing to remember is a lot of the effects of these rate hikes are yet to really be felt. So I do personally think inflation will keep coming down, CPI, PPI will keep coming down, and the Fed may be able to, as long as these numbers come in as expected, as long as this inflation data continues to come down, I do think the Fed is at the end of its rate hikes. And I think potentially at the end of this year, we may even see rate cuts, especially if PPI is under 0% and if CPI is right within 2%. I think we're a few CPI prints away from seeing the 2% numbers, but it's very reassuring to know that we might see somewhere around 3% for the upcoming CPI. So this is a very important week to keep an eye on the market, watch CPI, see how that comes out. It's same with PPI, and if these come in as expected or better than expected, we may not see any more rate hikes moving forwards. We may have already seen our last rate hike. So that is very important for small caps that need to acquire debt at a high interest rate. Once we start seeing those rate cuts, I do expect a lot of these small caps will already have been recovering. But let me know what you think about this upcoming inflation data. Is inflation going to start trending back up, or are we going to continue seeing a trend down on inflation? And also, how do you feel about Workhorse, and how do you feel about earnings coming up? Thanks as always for watching, guys, and I'll leave you with this Workhorse drone video.